At start, thank you very much for coming here. I will try to say a few things how we introduced Clojure into our company stack. It will be about Clojure would be example because it will be also how you can introduce any new different technology into your stack. So maybe I will start with some context, because I don't think presentation like that will be good without context. This is a very, very wide industry, and we need some introduction. Okay, like was said, I'm working the Smart Recruiters. We are not recruiters. I won't try to recruit you all later after presentation. We are making soft for the HR industry. And during our beginnings, we started as a Java EE monolith. But portfolio of our clients growth. We also have more feature requests. We needed to grow also our development team. And with bigger development team, we changed our architecture. Now we have something we can call microservices. And majority of these microservices are in Java EE. Yeah, there are companies who are making microservices in Java EE. But we don't like that approach. We start with Java EE because we have a lot of code in it, a lot of tooling to work with Java EE. But unfortunately, this approach has drawbacks. And these drawbacks are application servers, because they are really resource intensive. They are real waste. For the monolithic approach, they're way quite good. Unfortunately, or rather fortunately, now we live in a different world. We are using Amazon for storing our infrastructure, and small instances on Amazon are far less cost-effective, far better cost-effective than bigger one. What's more, we are getting into Docker, I think like a majority of the SaaS companies. And if you have Java in a Docker, it's already quite big image. If you also have application server, your Docker becomes obese. So we were looking for something different. First try was Wildfly Swarm. It's quite interesting project, which goal is to wrap whole stuff of Java EE to single executable jar. It was looking promising. Unfortunately, for 2 years of development, it didn't produce anything that is production value. It's not ready for anything. So we decided that we will go out of our comfort zone. In the company, we have something which is called hackerspace. It's 1 hour during a week where when whole company is meeting together, and we are watching presentation. It can be internal, it can be external. It must be interesting. And one of them was presentation of guy from Wunderlist, Duncan Davidson, about how they make their stack polyglottic. And we decided that if they could do that, we also can. And amount of ideas flourished. Everybody had opinion, everybody had idea. One of them was Clojure. And we decided that we want to go that way. But with technology that esoteric like Clojure, for Java guys, there is a problem. There is metrics which is called buzz factor. You can have really great developers in your company. But if you, for example, have a master of Clojure in your company and he will do your application and he will be hit by a bus, there is a problem. Maybe not for a developer under the bus, because he don't have any problems anymore, but for the management and people who decide which technology we can use, it's something they need to think about. We need to do something with that. I'm a big fan of TED Talks, and I think my favorite is Derek Sievert's How to Start a Movement. I don't have time to show it all, but the main pinpoint of this presentation is that when someone is coming with a strange idea and he is alone, he is considered just a crazy person. But where he starts to having first follower is bringing validation. And it's really easier to find another one. But like we said before, Clojure is hard. It's not readable when you first time read it. So you need to take as much burden from the back of your fellow developers as possible. And now context strikes again. In our company, we have small teams which consist the backend developers, front-end developers, and testers, and they are working in a single business domain. They can be considered domain specialists. We have a few teams like that. And in ideal world, if you want to change something in someone's other domain, you would just make a feature request for them. But we are not living in the perfect world, because sometimes the team you need to have something changed, have no time, and you are in a hurry. So you need to do it yourself. And we are doing that using pull requests. And you know what? When you just need to write in someone's other code, it's sometimes frustrating. If you don't know how to even start the project, it's frustrating even more. Because someone is saying that you need just install that, and you just don't know what to do later. So for me, it's really, really important to make a good impression if you don't want people to hate technology you choose. In this example, Clojure. Because with Clojure, you need JVM, and as a Java EE developers, we have JVM on our computers, but you also have more tooling. And you need to provide an easy way to install it. It can be just readme.md, but it needs to be good readme.md. Or I would suggest to some kind of the installation script to make this pain easier. If you are crazy and you like new ideas, you can try something like that. It's, during this talk, Mark Mandel, a guy from Google, is proposing and showing even how to wrap whole Clojure stack, even IDE, into a Docker container. So it's a crazy idea, but really worth to take a look. It's option to provide a truly repeatable, independent environment for every developer. But you are not the only, as a programmer, only entities that need to build a code of your company. This guy also needs to do that. And in our technology stack, we are using Gradle to run our continuous integration. And like you have seen before, we are also using, for example, Node. And for Node, as this is not Java technology, we've needed to make a wrapper. But we thought that if we are using Clojure, which is Java, in the internal, of course, we wouldn't have problems like that. Oh. You know, Gradle don't have third-party support to Clojure. There are third-party plugins, but third-party plugins of the market have had problems with our third-party plugins. And through years of development, we have a lot of them. Unfortunately, we ended up with just making a Gradle wrapper overlaying. And when you will be trying to introduce new technology, you will have more problems like that. They will be happening from any direction. So I think it's crucial to choose small targets, because bigger one can kill you. You can be the best Clojure programmer in the market, but you are not just writing Clojure. You are writing Clojure in the context of your company, and it's totally different beasts. Because if you have even great side projects, you probably don't have problem with different databases access. You are just choosing that database you like a lot. You don't need to connect for something different. You don't have complex security layer that probably, like in our case, was working on proprietary layer like interceptors in Java EE. And you don't need to provide Java clients because you don't need to cooperate with the Java world in your company. Everything like that took time. And your project probably will be late. And you know who will be guilty for the project that it's late? Probably you, but also your technology. And it's worst you can do to make bad first impression. Because if first impression will be bad, probably there will be no second. So I suggest that you should start small, meet your enemy, and use it as a framework to start thinking about something bigger. Because even a smallest victory is better than being defeated by the biggest enemy. Because this small victory built trust. And that trust that changed toys for developers into market asset. Still, you know what's even more important than having trust in your technology stack? That your clients have trust in software you are developing for them. And problem can come from any direction. You can't expect that they will be possible to, that you will know them before a project. They can happen to the biggest player on the market. So you need monitoring because they will happen also for you. It's our outage page. And we are seeing it sometimes, and when it is, we want to overcome problems as fast as possible. That's why we need monitoring for that. We need to know what's inside our application. In the case of Clojure, we are already in a good position because we have JVM. And as a Java developers, we love JVM. We love JVM a lot because we know how to scale it, we know how to debug it, we have tools to monitor it. We also have a lot of technology agnostic tooling, which, for example, makes wonderful graphs for our DevOps. But those graphs need to be provided with some data. In our case, that's our health checks. And every one application needs to provide information that is alive on the simple endpoint. And for the Java EE application, we had another dependency. It was CDI extension that was doing that just plug and play, and you have something in your application done by like that. But we were thinking how to port it to the Clojure. But after a moment of impression, we recognized that we don't need, because that is just stupid endpoint and need to provide information if something is live or not. Why make another dependency for something like that? So just making an endpoint. And there was a lot of situations like that. For example, we are using custom wrappers over Apache HTTP clients. And those wrappers provide us throttling, provide us custom headers, things like that. And if you would like to, we can use it in Clojure, because Clojure can interoperate with Java. But unfortunately, it don't look good, because it's 4-inch body in your code. And this code is maybe not bad, but definitely not idiomatic. And we also were thinking about using this client, maybe porting something, maybe making another wrapper over it. But then we took a step back. Why we are using Clojure? Because Clojure is expressive. And something that is dependency in a Java EE, we can make in 20 lines of code. So you need to remember about it. You are choosing your tools on purpose and use them wisely. Concluding, if you want to have a seamless adding something to your technology stack, you need to have a grasp of power. You need to control your application. I would also suggest you to choose your target wisely. And without fellow colleagues who help you, you shouldn't even start because it's not worth it. But it's worth it if you have all these ingredients. You know what? I cannot show you a code, but remember when I was talking about the health checks? This one is from our first Clojure application on production. It's not something complex. It's not something fancy, but it's waving to us and saying, hello, I'm there on your production and making work for you. And that is a glorious feeling. Thank you very much.